everyone, and welcome back to the Whalenerds podcast. This is episode number 93. My name is Slater, and I'm here with Adam and Caitlin.
What's up?
Hello. Dude, we saw some whales together.
We did it.
In person.
In person. In the same place.
All three of us.
None of this screen share crud.
Dude, I was thinking about it, and I think the last time I saw Caitlin was probably like 2 years ago. Like before this.
Was it?
It was when I stayed at Slater's house to watch Lacey, I think, wasn't it?
Maybe.
That was a long time ago.
I guess I saw you in Maui over the years.
Yeah, see, I never went to Maui.
The first year. It still had been like almost a year and a half.
It's crazy.
I saw you the second year.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you and I went. Oh, wait. Oh, I went twice in 1 year.
Yeah.
I'll just take because then Margot and I went.
Yeah, no, you came twice.
I'll go twice this year. Don't tempt me.
Oh, man.
So we accomplished a very, very successful 3 days of whale watching.
Man. Yeah, we did.
It was like perfect. Like there's nothing else I would have wanted to see.
Like the weather was the best part for me. I was so worried.
I was terrified too.
Not me.
It was like
the confidence of Monterey Bay.
Oh man, we had a sunrise and a sunset. I had to put sunscreen on. I was like, is this actually Monterey Bay?
Yeah, it was sunny all 3 days. Oh man. And yeah, it was pumping right before that. What was it, like 30 knots outside of the bay?
No, 40 plus.
And it just like the first trip was like a little bumpy, but after that it was like beautiful.
Yeah. Nicer.
I just don't understand how we got a sunrise,
and
beautiful,
a
calm day for the second day, and then a sunset with not to mention the whale was active. It did tail throw at sunset. So like,
yeah. Dude, I paid the ocean gods. I think I sold my soul. Sorry.
Poseidon, our boy.
No, his wife.
Oh, okay. Who's Poseidon's wife?
I don't remember.
Lacey.
I actually sacrificed Lacey as tribute.
I don't even know what to say about it.
It's just it was awesome.
Amphitrite.
It was just incredible. Let's just go through each day. The first morning we got up super early.
Yeah, it was super early.
Went out for sunrise. And what did we have? Humpback whales. Some more humpback whales.
I remember telling someone that I was like, no, I guarantee we're gonna see over like 14 humpback whales, and we had like seen 8 or something. I think right off the bat, like
yeah.
And they were like, and then I think we ended up seeing 14 humpback whales or something like that, and they were like, I don't know. They were like, you made that up, or like.
Well, we ended up with over 25 when it was all said and done for the day, but yeah, we like went out and there was like 1 or 2 scattered right in front of the harbor, and Kate was like, no, let's keep going. Then we found like a group of 4. And then everybody was like starting to freak out, like, oh my God, whales. And I was like, wait, is this anybody's like first actual whale? And everybody was like, no, but some people are like, this is my first humpback whale. I was like, oh,
no,
okay.
I thought it was some lady's first whale, wasn't it?
No, her first humpback whale is what she said.
Oh.
What's her name? From Ohio. Lindsay?
Oh, maybe it was her first whale. I know Jane said it was her first humpback whale.
Yeah, Jane said it was her first humpback whale. Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
But anyways,
it was.
So then they were super,
awesome.
super stoked. And then Kate found a nice group to follow, and we got like some nice lighting. I think it was like a pair. We got some nice sunrise lighting photos. Or was it a group of 4, and then they like split and came back together? There's just like a lot going on.
Yeah, there's just a lot of whales, which is exactly what you want.
And then we kept kind of moving out. And we came across a nice group of Rizzo's dolphins, like 300 Rizzo's dolphins. And then there were more humpback whales, a little bit of competitive behavior, feeding with sea lions, lots of groups of whales too, which was cool, not just like single whales here and there. So that was day 1.
Well, and then we finished it up with Google giving us a breaching,
Oh yeah, we started going.
and then
We had lunch feeding too.
we had lunch
Yeah.
feeding as well, and it was like kind of sporadic lunch feeding, but it was still awesome. It was like some of them were super close to the boat. You could see like pairs doing it at a time, and it was just like every time, like no matter if they did it like a quarter mile away or like 300 feet from the boat, everybody was just like, ah!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah, we got
So
in
cool.
towards the north side of the canyon, and there was like that weird brown algae over there too.
Yeah,
Every time the whale kicked, it like made this big brown plume.
yeah.
And then like it got so bad we couldn't even see the fish anymore. For a while you could see the fish at the surface and you'd like know where the
Yeah.
whales were going to be, and then the algae was like so thick that you couldn't see anything. I don't know how the whales saw anything either. That was the crazy part. Like,
They
or
have
the
not
birds.
location. I've already gone through the science. The little thing in their chin.
Well, it was cool too because everybody like wanted to see Google. Like I remember like Max and like Alexis were like, oh, I want to see Google so badly, and then we got him like at the end of the trip, so it was like
Yeah.
it was perfect. And he did some breaching for us just at a distance, but it was still cool. And you could on one of the photos you could see his like little eye patch, which is super cool.
Yeah, it doesn't help when I have Google breach like 2 days in a row before the trip.
Yeah. Hyping everybody up.
And then it sets up what's that word? I don't know.
Precedent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that group that was lunch feeding at the end was Google and Starlight, and then that little whale with like the crinkled
Oh yeah,
tail.
crinkly boy.
And then we thought it was a mom calf pair. I still think it's a mom calf pair, but then Kate uploaded the mom's fluke into Happy Whale and was like, I'm not sure if this is the mom. We don't have good records of what's going on. Like she's like, I'm very confused and this is a big mystery.
Oh, I'll have to look through my phone, but then she texted me later and did some more research, I think.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
She was just well, she texted us again and was like, I'm even more confused. I looked into it even more.
Did she text you and I together?
Yeah.
Okay, then never mind. That was okay. Then you read it.
And she's just like, it doesn't make any sense. But then we didn't see that little whale again the rest of the weekend to like try and confirm if it was with that big adult again. They were acting like a mom calf pair though. They totally
were. They totally were.
And it was a bigger calf that could fluke, but I mean Google can fluke too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all big at this point in the season.
Yeah, by this point in the season, they all should be able to fluke pretty well.
Well, you know what's even crazier is that when we did find Google, when we pulled up, they went down and we were pointed at Moss Landing and they were pointed out to sea out west. And they went down and then they popped up on our right side.
Right next to us.
East with us. Yeah, going this. Yeah, right next to us.
Yeah, and they all did like this big turn, and I was like, "Oh, it's two mom calf pairs." The way they were all swimming together.
The calves were together, like wiggling around or something. That's what it seemed like. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. Sea lions, birds, a little bit of lunch feeding, and then some other big adult came in. The two, like Starlight and the big adult, kind of got together and did one like dual lunge, and then like I think that big whale was just like, "Dude, this is too much chaos. I gotta go."
Didn't one of the whales
came in for one feed and left?
Didn't one of the whales like breach super close but nobody got it? It was on the other side.
We had a little whale do it.
Oh, it was a little whale?
Yeah, it was a little whale breached on its like way in there, and then I don't even know if it ever showed up in the 4 whales feeding. But it was like coming in.
Everybody was looking at it was on the left side of it was on the right side of the boat.
Oh yeah, that was early in the encounter, and then later in the encounter, another whale came in and fed with Starlight like one time and left.
Google did that breach, but it was so fast, and then it like instantly did like another like
little
head little. And Google does some weird behaviors when he's breaching. He'll like lift his head up with a mouthful of water and do like a half breach and stuff. He didn't do any of that on the trip, but he's done that a lot in the past.
He's a weird little whale.
I mean, I've seen a calf this season out east that just like swims like a little Pac-Man at the surface.
Yeah, you're telling us that.
You're like, okay, are you practicing? Are you flossing? What are you doing? Baby whales are weird.
They're super weird.
So that was day 1. And then we had group dinner at Lemongrass, which was great.
It was just nice to like talk to everybody, and like everybody was like saying where they're from, and it was just crazy to be like, we have people here from New York, Ohio, Arizona, Utah, Washington, like literally every corner of the country. Like that was
Florida.
amazing
We
to me.
literally did have
Florida.
almost every corner. of the
We
country.
did. We did. Yeah, we had people from LA too. So there you go. New York,
Yeah.
freaking Florida, Washington, California.
Yeah, it was a good group of people.
Yeah.
And then our second day, what time did we leave? 8, 9?
I remember feeling after the first day, going to bed that night, thinking like, man, how are we gonna make the second day better?
Yeah.
Little did we know.
Yeah. Well, then the second day, how did we start? We started with a couple whales out of Moss Landing. Then we
Kinda
went down.
slow.
Yeah.
Oh, we had Fran.
Yeah, but we had Fran and Inverse, and Inverse played in the kelp, and that was awesome.
Yeah, he did this like massive pec slap. He was like, whoa.
But then the best was when he rolled back over and blew the kelp off his head.
Yeah.
Kelp went flying.
Oh, I forgot. I got a photo of in the spout you could see a bunch of different like pieces of kelp flying. That was funny.
And then he had it stuck on his tail for like several dives after. So like pictures of it dragging off the fluke, which was super cool. It was
so good to like we've obviously all had mornings in Monterey, especially like, I don't know, last year in the fall, remember Slater for your all-day trip, it was foggy the entire day, but it was like we didn't see a single fog bank. Like it was just like gorgeous skies, nice blue water, like sunny skies.
It was actually so warm the second day. I didn't have a sweatshirt on most of the trip.
It was super warm.
Yeah, me neither.
And the second trip, we also had a guest on board, Sammy Chang, who did our artwork, and Amber Caldwell, who was a guest on, I think, what was it, episode 50 something.
Yeah, when you guys moved to Hawaii.
Yeah.
To Maui.
It was fun to see them and have them on the boat. And then we saw Fran and Inverse. I think we went to go look at something else, but then we got a report that there was killer whales.
We were just traveling basically out the canyon, out west, and then Kate got a call from Andrea and on the sanctuary that she had killer. Well, it was she got a call. She's like, I think we got killer whales, and then it was like, no, we got killer whales. And
it was so funny. I was down in the cabin, just like eating a donut or something, or getting a coffee, and I see Slater's little legs running on the port side of the boat because he was booking it down the, I guess it was the starboard side, and because and there's that little slit in Kate's boat, so you can only see their legs. Yeah. So I just saw like, and then he like turned the corner, came downstairs, and he's like, how happy do you want to be right now? And I'm like, I'm like, shut up. And he's like, no, how happy do you want to be right now? And I'm like, you're kidding me. So it was just like, oh, it was so good. I couldn't hold it in.
Freaking tie lip on it. He's like, I don't know, maybe there's like dorsal fins up there. Maybe there's like these tall dolphins. I'm like, dude,
tall dolphins.
I don't know what he was saying.
No, everybody was like, well, like, what are all these boats doing? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I was
like, there might be some, I don't know, there was some splashing or Rizzos. I said, I think they might have humpbacks feeding or something like that. And then Adam was just like throwing these big tips out there.
And then Jim was standing next to me. He was talking to me. He was like talking to me about killer whales. And I'm like, all right, Jim, are you ready to see some cool shit? And he's like, are we going to see some cool shit? And I was like, yeah, we're about to see some cool shit. Oh, it was just so good.
Adam,
to Jane,
sorry.
The whole time I was like,
oh yeah, because Jane really wanted to see killer whales.
And I just had a conversation with Max and Alexis, right?
Alexis,
yeah. And so I was just telling them about, like, we were talking about a past encounter or something, and then I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to see them, and then like nonchalantly like brushed it off, and then like 2 seconds later it happened. They were like, are you kidding me?
It was funny. It was funny too, because I think Slater the first day was like, he was telling me, he's like, oh no, we're gonna eat killer whales. Like, I guarantee it.
No, he said it on the last podcast. He said it on a podcast before.
Well, I promised.
We were talking about it. And
people should listen, you know.
And there was like, it was the first day. It was the first day you said something like that, and then Jane was like, "Are you serious? Like, we're gonna get them?" And you're like, you know, you don't want to say it, but still, like,
I think I said it at the dinner too. I was like, "Oh no, we're gonna see them. Don't worry."
So here's the like
big baller, bro.
Here's the typical etiquette in Monterey, because bigs are so tricky sometimes, is the naturalist and the captain will know all the way to the encounter that they're killer whales, and they're getting 5-minute updates the whole way there. We might know for an hour that there's killer whales, but we won't say anything until we actually see them, because I cannot tell
You
you how
never
many
know.
times we drove all the way there and then they lose them right before you get there, and you're like, no.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to hold it in. I was
Then
like,
you hype up your people and then you can't deliver, and that sucks.
That happened to the last killer whales I had. I don't remember who they were, but I had them. Then I passed them off to like 4 or 5 other boats, and then Kate, which was on her way out, and the fog just like covered the bay in like literally 30 seconds. It seemed like.
Yep.
And I had already left the killer whales with the big boats, and they lost them.
Yeah.
Like, how does 6 or 7 boats lose killer whales? But
I mean, I've had that happen with fog. I've also had it happen without fog, especially between the Monterey and Carmel Canyon. There's like this weird set of ridges right off of Cypress Point.
There.
Yeah. And they just like, sometimes they totally turn around. Sometimes they like cut way inshore, or sometimes they like do this weird out and then into Carmel Bay route. And you're just like, I don't know which way they're going to go, but they have like 6 options right here. And like, they just dust you.
I had a night on the Seawolf, and we were in Carmel Bay with killer whales, and they like went in and then back out and then like in, and then we were like, there they are, but like we were tired of like not seeing them, and so it ended up being like a pelican that dove, and then we like never saw them again. Like, okay, it's time to go.
That's like the Bermuda Triangle for killer whales, is right there at the top of Carmel Bay.
Yeah, because I think they can either go south or north again, and it's like you just could lose them.
Yeah, and I think they work that weird set of ridges, like looking for stuff, and then they might just take a super long dive while they're investigating, and you think you missed them, and then you really didn't, and then you turn around to see if they went the other way, and they come up behind you, and yeah, it's a tricky spot. But anyway, so we didn't want to tell the people that we had killer whales till we literally had them, because there were also groups of Rizzo's dolphins running away.
Yeah, there were.
On our way there. Some were just calm, like just cruising. I think they didn't know. But then as we got closer to the killer whales, there was one pod that was like charging off.
I think something that is even more rare and just as lucky is that somehow all the whale watch boats were at the end of their trip.
Yeah.
And left.
The timing.
And then we had them for ourselves. Not for the whole part, but for like the
majority of it.
Basically like 60% of the sighting, we had them by ourselves.
Yeah.
And, we were just traveling along with the 6 killer whales, which it was 4 females, 1 calf, and 1 male. Which I don't know if the calf is a male or male or female.
Well, there's a couple of youngsters.
There's 2 little ones. One really little one, but 2 smaller ones.
I have that video
of
both of them rolling upside down. I think
one juvenile, 1 calf.
Well, it's 2 matriarchs, CA50B, and then the 122Bs have 2 little guys, but one's not that little. And then 49C, we saw 49C Slater in August.
She normally travels with the 50. Yeah, she normally travels with the 51.
She's been all over the place because I saw her, Slater and I saw her with the 138s, and then when I was in Santa Barbara, we saw her with the 39As. So she's all over the place. And then now she's with whatever, the 122Bs.
Kind of interesting because usually females don't bounce around like that, but she is an orphan. Her and Richie are from the same family line, and they both bounce around. Yeah.
And that calf that she has is fairly new, probably a year or 2 old.
That's 49C's calf?
Yep.
So she bounces around with a calf. That's even weirder.
Yep.
Could be Richie's calf.
We're brothers? That's
incest,
gross.
Dude. But yeah,
Liner's calf.
Yeah.
It could be anybody's calf.
I don't even know when they seen Liner last.
Yeah, Liner, I don't know. Anyways, it was just like awesome to all those boats left at like the perfect time. And then
that's the perk of being on a long trip, is because sometimes you do get lucky like that. The whales started traveling northwest, so they were out of range for a lot of boats.
Yeah. Well, and
by the time they were turning around for their second trip.
Exactly.
So they had to come in, get a couple of quick looks for the end of their first trip, and by the time they were getting ready to leave the dock again, we were too far away, and it was like it just all kind of worked out perfect. And then as the day went on, it just got nicer and nicer. It like glassed out as we went out offshore with the whales. And they were just traveling. They passed by a sea lion, and then we thought they passed by a second sea lion, but then they like the group kind of split up. The youngest calf was with the male.
Yeah.
And so then I started looking behind us because I was like, maybe the female stopped and grabbed that sea lion. And then all of a sudden they were like next to the boat and they had the carcass, and it was like, whoa.
So cool. It was just funny. Like we were, it got into a point where like we had watched them for probably an hour straight in like beautiful water, right? And you're like, with killer whales, you never know. Like, are they just going to keep traveling for the next hour and a half? Are they going to do something? So it kind of got to that point where like, what do we just keep watching them? And then I remember the whole group of 6 went down for a dive. And then 5 minutes later, whatever, the calf and 50B popped up and we're like, where's everybody else? And then after that is when everybody popped up and there's a carcass and it was right next to the boat. And it was just like perfect. Awesome. And I don't know, everybody was saying it was a bigger sea lion, right? Like it wasn't the first one that we saw.
No, I think it was the second one.
How do you
That's
know once
okay.
it's been freaking?
Well, I didn't. Yeah. Anyways,
Who knows? They might have grabbed a new one. They might have went back underwater and grabbed it. But it seems like the way that the male and the calf kept swimming, maybe they just found another one as they went down.
Yeah, maybe. But then they whatever the actual predation part was very quick under the water, and then they did a little bit of like food sharing at the surface, which you guys got some cool footage of. Slater's flying the drone. He's like, "There's blood."
Oh yeah.
He's flying from upstairs, and I'm in the bow, and I can hear him.
Well, I like when I was filming, I was so happy, and then I like sat down, and then it got exciting again, and I stood back up, and then they went down, then I sat down, then it came back up to the surface, and I stood back up, like I couldn't sit still while filming it.
it was funny too because when they pop back up with the food in their mouth, Slater and I were like, okay, they're gonna celebrate at some point, we hope. And then Slater was like, you should go fly the drone, and I'm like, I don't want to miss a spy hop or a breach or something.
I don't understand. Adam's whole life is like, I have to fly this drone today. Like, I want to fly the drone today. Every time.
Yeah, the Inspire.
Now it's not good enough to just film it.
No, I'm just saying.
All the time, all my buddy
told you.
Fly. Can I fly the drone? I'm like, sure. And now I tell him to fly the drone. He's like, oh, I think I'm just gonna do my camera. It's like, are you kidding me, dude?
First off, I just bought a brand new camera that I wanted to get used to. And second off, I knew they were gonna do something. And the last time you and I were out on a kill,
we all know they're gonna do something.
We both missed the spy hops. We both missed 2 spy hops. So I was like, all right, somebody has to get
6,000 spy hops, Adam.
Yeah, I know. Somebody had to get it that time. You're welcome.
I got it too, but forget me, right?
Everybody got it.
I got it. I
like...
literally was holding a drone and a freaking remote in my hand while climbing a ladder, and then saw out the window, and I said the F word, and then I went downstairs and grabbed my camera, and then carried all 3 up the stairs so I could do both things just in case. Because I was like, they're gonna start breaching. I'm not gonna put the drone up yet, and they nothing happened for a few seconds, and then I put the drone up.
Yeah, it was just that one spy hop and a couple tail slaps, and that was kind of it. But it was cool to get the footage from the surface of them, like from the drone of them eating at the surface. That was cool.
Yeah, it was pretty lucky.
Gnarly.
Yeah,
I always think it's super interesting to see them ripping it up together.
But they don't have to do it that close to the surface. They could do it 25 feet down or even 10, and you have no idea what's going on. So it was definitely a lucky moment for all of us.
Yeah. And then like I was explaining to people like this is the oil slick like coming from the carcass as they're ripping it up and stuff, because you could see that at the surface, and the birds started coming in and eating some of the intestines that they left behind. And
did they ever even stop traveling? Really? For a second they stopped when they did the spy hop, and then they kept going. Yeah,
they kind of all like were circling each other, and I think they were sort of getting themselves organized to start ripping the carcass apart, and then they started swimming and feeding at the same time.
Yeah.
Dang it. Chill out, eat. We're in no hurry.
They clearly had somewhere to go though.
They had no hurry. They had another pod to meet up with.
Probably. You know, like a day or two.
Oh yeah.
a day or two after that, a group of 6 was seen on the Half Moon Bay weather buoy. It has a camera on it, and they swam right by there.
That's
I heard
epic.
about that.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
then
it
a
was the
few
same
days
group.
later, they had killer whales. Discovery Whale Watch had killer whales too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 2 of
and
them,
it was super bumpy out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was only 2?
Yeah, I think it was only 2.
Oh, who
I
was
have
it?
no idea.
I have no clue. It was a male and a female. It was like one.
It wasn't
freaking,
Fat Fin and 169.
No, it was like
I didn't even look at any of the posts.
CA freaking something weird. It was something that I've never seen before.
Oh, and then it's
But,
like, how the heck do you top the second day? And now
Yeah.
we're just having a panic attack in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wake up.
But,
Well, okay,
And I
so
think
we-
everybody at that
we
point
drove
was like,
in-
Finish.
so
Yeah,
stoked.
finish.
Finish
that
day 2. Finish day 2. Okay, so we decided to leave the killer whales to go off into the wild blue yonder, and we started running in towards shore to go home. We kind of checked the north side of the canyon just to see what's going on. It was kind of quiet. We saw another group of Rizzo's dolphins, and that was nice seeing them like play around in the waves a little bit and then coming up in little pockets everywhere. Then we had somebody breach on our way in, but they only breached
Google.
like
Yeah, Google.
No, it was Google and Starlight. Remember, they were like going back to back to back, and everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Ah,
I have a
ah."
photo
You
of
can
it
see in the
very far away.
distance. You
Yeah.
can see in
Yeah,
the distance,
very
and then when we got
distant.
up to them, they chilled out. But
yeah.
still, people were
Yep.
even freaking out about that in the distance because both of them were
Mhm.
going off at once, and it was cool to see.
Doesn't matter. You could feel the energy of the
Yeah,
humpbacks
exactly.
from miles away.
You can't.
Yeah.
It's
you
like they
totally
could sing
can.
underwater and you could hear it from miles away. You could feel
like,
their breach
"Oh."
from miles away.
Yeah.
And you could hear our boat from a mile away, I'm sure too.
Yeah.
Anytime a chin barnacle made it above the water, even a centimeter above the water, and everybody on the boat was like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
That's a good feeling to have, like to make
Yeah.
that many
Oh,
people
the
happy
people,
at the same
the
time.
people just made it so much better.
Yeah.
Like, it was just perfect.
So then we saw some more humpbacks on our way in, and then we had our lecture Friday night with John Ryan and Will Astrick from Mimbari, and that was flipping awesome.
You got his name right.
Astrick. I'm sorry, Will. I've been saying it wrong the whole time.
It's funny too because you were like, every time you'd say it, you're like, I'm sorry if I'm messing this up.
Like, I'm
Turns
pretty
out
sure
you
I'm
were.
saying it wrong. Guess what I was.
Yep.
But that was incredible. I had no idea that subwoofer thing that he brought was that big.
Yeah, that was a newer one than the one that was newer. The other one was actually like taller, it seemed like, but he had a
Okay.
newer one and he had more stuff hooked up. Like
Yeah, he had like a
he
mixer
had more
and like
controls hooked up to
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, he had all kinds of cool stuff going on. But he rattled the display cases
Yeah, I
in the
think a
room.
hummingbird started to fly. Imagine all the birds just came back to life.
Oh my gosh.
It's not at the museum.
Oh,
The
we
blue
saw an
whale call can revive things we don't even know.
Well, we saw an albatross out on the water that day. And then they have an
Oh.
albatross on display in the bird room at PG Museum. So that was cool to like be able to show people like this is how big that bird was that we saw today.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really interesting to look at like especially Will's work and like trying to figure out like what the blue whale hotspots are around Monterey Bay. And
He's gonna be our best friend, Slater.
I know he's doing some really interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'm subscribed to
And
his
he was
page
doing like
now.
a krill density and area.
That's their new
kinda-
thing they're trying to do.
That's a new
Yeah.
one, right? Yeah.
Yep. And they're putting on even more cool like bells and whistles with the hydrophone. They're trying to make it more of an array now so that they can get they can triangulate positions of sound sources. And so they're going to get some really cool stuff here pretty soon. I mean, they already get cool stuff, but
I think it
more
was
so.
it was really cool to see the directional hydrophone like pick up the blue whales in their
Mhm.
kind of typical spot off of Cypress and then watch them all kind of move into the bay like overnight. That was cool.
We watched it happen too in our eyes.
Yeah, we did.
We watched
did.
them one day
Slater
at
and I.
Cypress, and the next day they were off like Point Pinos, and then the next
Mhm.
day they were up at 40 and 55, or I mean 40 and 00 or something like that, 41 and
Mhm.
00.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they were
and
just
the- and
slowly going
that's-
up.
It was just cool to pair those two, the representation
And I
of
like-
the hydrophone and then what we saw. Like
There's a pretty specific like what he calls that feeding trough, the way the canyons sit. And so like you can see that on the map. And so like, you can start to kind of be like, oh yeah, that's why the fingers off of Santa Cruz are such a good spot, or that's why this spot south of Carmel is such a good spot. And then that one spot outside of Point Pinos, years ago when we were doing
or something.
Huh?
Maybe it's like the deep hole.
No, it's something else. It's one of the fishing captains in Monterey calls it his little blue whale secret spot. And that's actually where we found the blue whale for Big Blue Live. When we had looked everywhere else, we came across that spot, and sure enough, there was a blue whale there. And now to see like that evidence like corroborated on the map and the hydrophone, I'm like, dang,
Super
like
cool.
obviously he knows what he's talking about. He's been fishing on the Monterey Bay for 60 years, but like, to see it all like fact checked and be like, sure enough, that is his secret blue whale spot. Look at it.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah. And then at the end, I was talking to Will and John, and I was like telling them thank you, and they were like, "This is like the most engaged audience we've ever had." And I was like, "Dude, I told you we're nerds."
Just a bunch of whale nerds. I wanted there to be like, I wanted him to like pull up a recording of like a freaking like rough-toothed dolphin in like California waters or something. Like I just wonder like what, like that hydrophone must have so much data that there has to be something weird on there. It's just it would be impossible just to go through it all and decipher.
Well, that's what he's saying is like right now he's the guy that goes through it all, and like just think about how much data there is to go through. Yeah. But now they're starting to get some like AI technology that could help. So maybe that'll be something that comes out of that, is like when the workload's not so intense, then they can start to pull out these really funky things that they just didn't have time for.
Even then, the AI has to go through all that footage.
Yeah,
hours
it takes a long
hours.
time. Yeah.
And
you have to train the AI to pick up all those weird things, like, and if you haven't seen them all, or then you don't know how to code it.
Yeah.
It was funny too, after we got an email from him that was like, "Hey guys, sorry the hydrophone was down during like your meeting, but it's back up now." So
yeah.
Oh, and Kate texted me, I think 2 days ago, and she goes, "Hey, the hydrophone's back on." I was like, "Oh, I already knew, and I forgot to tell you." And she was like, "I hate you." It was like the day after you told me. I was like, "Yeah, I came back yesterday."
Yeah, I should have texted her, but I forgot to. It was like, I think I read the email fairly late in the day and then just like forgot about it. So that was day 2. So then the morning of day 3, we went to breakfast, and the 3 of us were like, how the heck are we gonna top what we already did?
Well, and it's funny too, because on the second day, people were like, I don't know how we're gonna top today. And it was just like, if you guys are cool with us not doing it, I'm cool with that, not having that.
How about we just go see some whales?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the third day is basically the cherry, like on the trip.
Yeah. And it completely was.
Yeah. Day 3, we went out for a sunset time slot, so we didn't leave till like, we did breakfast together, and then everybody kind of had a couple hours to do whatever they need to do, charge their batteries, go through photos, whatever, take a nap. And then what time did we leave?
12:30.
1:30.
Like 1:30 or something, or 1 o'clock, 12:30 or 1. All I know is when I got there, the first thing I did was take off my jacket because it was hot as heck.
Yep.
And the second thing I did was argue with Adam about how neither of us had any batteries for our cameras.
No, that was the second day.
Are you sure?
Yes, it was a killer whale day.
It was the third day.
No,
because all the stuff fell out of my. No, I remember it all fell out of my, because it was the hot day, because all the batteries were in the back of my truck. And I was like, it wasn't
the second day. I had
because we ended at sunset. You're right. It was the second.
It was the second day because you had my batteries.
No,
thanks, Caitlin.
Yeah, the second day you had my batteries. You still had my batteries. Because when Google and Starlight were breaching, I didn't have any batteries in my camera.
Wow. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice, Caitlin, and we've all done it. Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
No, we haven't. It's just Slater and I that don't have batteries.
They did have them, for the record. They just fell out in the car.
They fell out in the truck. The bed of the truck.
Well, also, I had my 2 like new batteries charging
they were
at
sitting
Slater's
on,
house.
Yeah,
and then like, I guess Slater took them off, or I took them off, or something, and I just grabbed the 2 that were in the charger already. But I think that you had put 2 brand new ones in right before that, so I just grabbed them. Yeah,
I don't know
just
why, because you're not even
didn't
driving.
register. Yeah, didn't make any sense. But whatever.
Anyways, remember that email I sent everyone that said remember to bring an extra memory card and batteries?
Well, you didn't send it to us.
Yeah, what the
I
heck?
read it
didn't
to
get
you
it.
out loud.
No.
Come on, dude.
Okay, so day 3. It was very warm out. So warm, in fact, that I actually forgot all of my jackets in my car. I had to, that sweatshirt I'm wearing at the end, that's my dad's.
Yeah.
Not really.
Because he
We
brought
had
an extra.
And then we had some guests on as well.
Yeah,
that
we had
trip.
Ted Cheeseman and Ken, I forget your last name, I'm so sorry, but they're the creators and founders of Happy Whale. And so it was really fun to have them out. Ken does a lot of the back end programming stuff. And so he looks at the whales on the computer, but doesn't get out and see them super often. And he just happened to be visiting from Portland. And so I was like, yeah, both of you come. That would be perfect. And so they had a really good time with the Whalenerds, but also seeing some whales and playing around with their toys that they're developing on their phone, some new access information that'll be available to certain users of Happy Whale. And so it was really fun to see them. And my parents came because, you know, they're like the Whalenerds' biggest fans.
And my friend Courtney, who took some nice portraits of us.
Oh yeah.
That's such I love that. I love that picture of the 3 of us. It's so cute.
It is very adorable.
It is very
Good thing
adorable.
I'm in the photo.
The photo of you two is also pretty adorable.
Speaking
Yeah, it
of
is.
Ted and Ken, they created us a profile on Happy Whale for the
Yes.
Whalenerds podcast.
Yes.
And for that individual trip, we had 63 encounters with humpbacks, 56 identified, and 30
Whoa.
individuals.
Yes.
So 30. So basically, we saw 30 unique whales.
Mhm.
At least that we got tails of.
Yep. And
Yeah,
day
that's
3 was a
awesome.
lot of competitive groups. So we
Mhm.
had all day off and on, like groups of 5 or 6 whales, kind of in competition mode, lots of charging after one another. At some points, they kind of charged towards the boat. We had some very confused sea lions that were like, wait, why aren't you eating any fish? And then some like rolling around and stuff too. But at the end of the day, that competitive group was the best with Flopsy.
And Inverse was in there, right? And was not, and Fran was not. So
Yeah,
they were
I
together
think
the day before and not the second day.
And Picasso.
Yeah, Picasso.
Yeah, I think Inverse was in the first competitive group we started with at the beginning of the
Yeah,
trip, and
maybe.
Picasso
Yeah.
was in there. And then the last competitive group of the day, Picasso was also in with different whales. So like he had just been going all day.
It was really cool
Gotta do
too
when you're a painter.
because Caitlin talked about like the competitive groups now. Like there's a female in front and like all the males are like behind her trying to fight for position, and we saw all that, so that was cool to
Mhm.
see. But the weirdest part was, remember that huge group of sea lions and birds just like moved
Oh,
right
yeah.
through the area,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
just kept going, and we were like, what is going on? But
Yeah, we
thought the
saw,
humpbacks
like-
were gonna start feeding.
They were definitely eating anchovies is what was going on, but
Yeah, we saw like this
That's
big line of
rare.
bird work, and then all of a sudden it started moving towards us. And it was just like really scattered bait, and like it just like swamped over the whales, and
kept
the whales
going.
just kept competing with each other. And then the bird work just kept moving.
yeah, you
for
could
like
see it
another
like a
you
mile
can see it
out
at the
pretty
end.
quick,
Yeah, it was like 2 miles out at the end. It was so weird.
So yeah, I think it was pretty interesting to know some of the whales. Like Nacho was in there briefly. And then Flopsy is a whale who's been around in Monterey for a long time. So it's cool to see some whales that I used to see back in the day, like the
Heck
early
yeah.
days.
And then in
So-
your future days.
Ooh.
Well, we are going back to Monterey in April, so
Yeah, not those
We're
future
getting-
days. Well, so are
We're
you.
getting there. We're getting
Yeah.
there.
And then yeah, it was pretty basic. I mean, to say the least, only probably like what 20 or so humpbacks that day.
at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty tough sightings.
Yeah, and then we had a sunset, and that just totally sucked.
Yeah, but we ended up. Who was the mom and calf? Was it a mom and
I
calf?
don't
at
think
sunset?
It
Anybody-
looked like
it
a
was,
mom
for sure.
calf. I
It was
think
a
Kate.
trio,
The
right?
calf was the one throwing his tail around.
Yeah, I think
Then
there was an escort whale too, though. Maybe.
literally-
Yeah, that's what I thought.
literally we were all watching the sun hit the horizon, and everybody was like, "Ooh, the green flash could happen." It was like that
yeah,
that
no
kind
green
of like, you
flash,
know,
but it was perfect for it.
no clouds or anything, you know, it's just like a straight yellow sky.
Yeah,
And that whale was basically tail throwing at that second as it was like
yeah,
peaking, like,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, got a playful little calf, got a really beautiful sunset, and there was just enough like scattered high clouds that like it held the colors forever, and so it was super pretty.
It was just gorgeous.
Yeah. And then we had a wonderful cruise in, couple more whales along the way, and
Then we said bye.
yeah, then
And
we said bye
cried.
to everyone.
It was honestly like the people that like made it like perfect. Like the whales were like obviously off the charts, but like when everybody's super thankful for it and everybody had a good time and everybody was just there to enjoy, like it just made it so much more.
That's why
worthwhile.
running trips with people that are like-minded is a great feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you can all share the same feeling together and it multiplies into an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Multiplication.
Yeah. So overall, I would say it was a phenomenal weekend. I'm so glad that everything came together so perfectly.
It really did. Like it couldn't have gone any better.
So we're gonna do it again. In the spring, we're gonna do it a little bit differently. Yeah. So yeah, we had such a good time that I said to Kate, hey, can we do this again in April? And she was like, yeah, sure, let me know. So we're gonna do single day tickets the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Is that right?
Yes.
Did I say the right days?
Yes.
And so if you want to string them together and book a couple days in a row, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And that's usually actually the beginning of the peak of killer whale season. So that's our goal, but could also see gray whales, humpback whales, blue whales, variety of dolphins. And we're going to get out on the water as early as possible. One, to get ahead of some of the boat traffic, but two, to take advantage of the best sea conditions of the day because the spring can be windy and bumpy. So we want to get out earlier so that we have the best viewing window possible.
And did we leave room for them to run afternoon trips?
Yeah, that and
so
that
if
way,
you are
yeah.
a crazy whale
Die
nerd,
hard.
you technically could book another whale watch when we get in from the 6-hour trip.
Yeah, you could do like 9 hours of whale watching that day if you want to, because you could then just book an afternoon trip with Blue Ocean Whale Watch.
Because you never know if they make a predation on one of those days, like
yeah,
you might want to
be
go
there
in the
all day.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna ask Kate if I can go out.
Hopefully we can have a predation on the first day. That's what I asked for. Mid.
So then they'll just keep feeding on the carcass the following 2 days.
Yeah, that's what you want. You just
Yeah.
need them to be there.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the same days last year,
Mm-hmm.
and that's exactly what happened. The 22nd, I think, was the predation. The 23rd, they hung around and like
Adam.
Kate has.
Do
this
you
awesome
think I
video.
didn't do this on purpose, Adam?
Yeah, I
It's like
know.
he
I'm
doesn't
just
understand
saying.
us.
I'm telling the people.
Right
Think I
around
didn't
my
have-
birthday is the peak of killer whale season. It lasts
Me
for about
too.
15 days.
What, you don't think that I planned October 15th to have killer whales? I had it in 2017, okay?
That was also Earthquake Day 2 years before that.
It
And we
really,
had killer whales that day, too.
It really is something though that there are dates. It's like, okay, yeah, of course, we see humpbacks every day this year.
But they don't
and
have a
next year, but
freaking calendar.
Killer whales move in and out of the area. So when you see them on January 1st, 3 years in a row, you're like, what the heck? You know what I mean?
I get
Yeah.
that, but they don't have a calendar. They don't freaking. I'm out of focus. They don't. You know, like people always tell me that they're like, you know, this date, like they're gonna show up, and I'm like, no, they're not. Like, there's a high possibility. Maybe they could, but it's like they don't have a calendar. They don't have. It's not their year isn't 365 days. Like they don't care.
But it could be.
It could be. Anything's possible.
But
anything's possible
Adam,
when you're a whale nerd.
You're not understanding that people take into consideration leap years, and that could throw off it by one day. So you got to really pay attention to the calendars.
Oh my god!
After 2020, 2012, a lot of the calendars were messed up, and so the killer whale sightings were off for a good. But now we got them dialed in.
You're gonna kill Caitlin.
I'm gonna choke on my own spit.
die laughing so hard. Anyways, 22nd, 23rd, 24th is gonna be killer. See what I did there?
Please leave.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we absolutely knocked it out of the ballpark, and I do want to give a big shout out to Caitlin for pretty much doing everything. She's a boss, and all we do is like post pictures and tell you guys to come. So,
which is also important. That's how you sell the trip, right?
It is important.
But no, Caitlin crushed it as she always does.
Thanks, dude.
It's pretty. And then you just turned around and instantly got this killer whale trips going, and like you already had an itinerary and everything, and I was like,
and
I'm in Mexico, bro. I can't do anything. I'm sorry.
And then we had a meeting with another company and potentially run some not cooler trips, but more exotic trips in the future.
Yep.
So
man, save your dollars for 2022 because we're gonna do some cool stuff. Also, I want to just say thank you to our Patreon supporters, because without your support over these years, we wouldn't have been able to pull off a lot of this. That having a startup budget for running the trip and like getting supplies and making reservations and stuff, having that money from Patreon was super, super helpful. And so I really, really appreciate everyone's support over the years. And we did get to meet one of our Patreon people, Lindsay. Thank you for coming on the trip. That was incredible. And we hope to see more of you in the future. If you are in the Whale Obsessed tier on Patreon, then you do get actually a promotion code for a discount on trips with us. And that'll be something that's always part of your benefits for that tier. So we would love to have you on a trip, regardless of which level on Patreon you are. If you can make it to one of them, we would so appreciate seeing you in person and being able to interact with you. But in the meantime, we super, super appreciate your support. And also thank you to Blue Ocean Whale Watch for putting on a phenomenal 3 days of trips. I mean, we set everything up, but Kate and her crew really made the magic happen for the people. And so I really appreciated that. That was incredible. She just runs a really great trip.
She just knows what, like, I trust her so much to just make everything like.
I've never had a bad all day trip on Kate's boat. Ever.
It just doesn't happen. She's
the thing is like, I don't want to say, but like, it's just like, okay, I didn't want the bad weather to happen, but it just happened for like 6 days. And so it's like, I don't ever want to have a bad trip on her boat.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
I feel like I needed to just rent out her boat on a random day, have a bad trip just to get it out of the books.
Just to get it over with. So,
yeah.
And thank you to everyone that came on the trip and like, wanted to take the time and come see some whales with a really fun group of people. That was incredible for us. It was really inspiring to have everyone on the boat.
I'm getting chills down my spine right now. Like it's honestly like we've been talking about stuff like this for years, and to see it come to fruition and have it play out perfectly, and everybody was just so sweet and so enthusiastic, and everybody had questions, and they were from different parts of the country with different backgrounds and different whale knowledge and everything, and it was just like, oh, it was just perfect. And then we have already one of our first people, Laurel, is on the next trip.
Yeah, she's coming on the killer whale trips in the spring.
So there you go. Oh, just so amazing.
My parents won't stop talking about being on the last day. They're like, everyone was so nerdy. It was so great.
Imagine being there for all 3.
I know. I think their heads would have exploded. But anyways, they thought it was phenomenal to see all of us together.
Yeah, that was cool. Your parents are awesome. Tim Taylor, the best.
He's here for a party, okay? Tim's always ready to party.
Love that. Oh, man, I'm just super thankful.
Stay tuned. We'll be back on our recording schedule here shortly, and we'll be putting out more episodes. And we're doing a little work on the website too. So if you are looking for like book recommendations or like some of the websites we always reference, we're starting to build like a page for that so that you have more of like a central hub to look at the things that we reference all the time, and more trip information and all that jazz is starting to come on the website. So you can always check it out on thewhalenerds.com. You can also follow us on social media, Instagram and Facebook. We put up photos from Whale Nerds Weekend on there. It's just at Whale Nerds. And if you want to sign up on our Patreon, it's patreon.com/whalenerds. So yeah, did I forget anything?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much. Yeah, I can't believe how far Whalenerds has come in the last few years, last 3 years. So
Yeah.
and we're pretty close to 100 episodes, so be ready.
Woohoo!
I don't know what's gonna happen, but there's
Me
gonna be a
either.
podcast for sure.
All right. Thanks,
right.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.